with this decision taken by His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the President also talked about the human capital development, nurturing skills for the 21st century. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in 2018, when we took over, our major promise is to provide education, free quality education. We started, and today we are very proud, we have a very good footing. We cannot say here authoritatively that all is well, but we can say enrollment is high. We can say we have more students, more female students in the sciences today. We can say we have more people taking the BECE, NPSC, and WAS exams. We can say there's a culture that every student, every home that have people are sending them to schools. Those days you send your children to go and for us coming from the rural areas, most times you see children selling or doing mining for their parents. But today it is competition between homes, within communities, because there is this culture that education now is priority. And the message has reached every household of this country. We cannot say it is okay, but I am very confident His Excellency did hugely in that sector. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency has said he will continue from where he stopped. He will continue from where we stopped. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if you read 32, which I will read, our effort will be directed towards bridging the gap and the missing. Our effort will be directed towards bridging the gap in the missing middle of the labor force while nurturing talent for professional roles in both the private and the civil service. Mr. Speaker, that is the exact situation we are now as a country. The middle level is so weak. We have two sects in Sierra Leone. We have the upper or the lower. It is either you are rich or poor. And the middle level, that was why the 6334 system was created. I'm happy that His Excellency have highlighted it. The 6334 was created because we want to bridge the gap between the middle level and the low level, so that we have an average. We have an average. Mr. Speaker, you notice of late everybody is running to the university. Some of them doing courses that are not even viable to national development. Some courses you see students coming from the university. When you ask them what do you want to do, he or she will tell you so too. Any hope we give me. This is where we have found ourselves, Mr. Speaker. We have students, we have graduates running after us. When you ask them, what do you want to do? Which job do you want? And so too, any hope can be taken. Because our curriculum has not been tidy up for students to graduate and be self-creating. Everybody is running for government to employ. As the leader said, we need to empower the private sector. There's a huge gap. That is why today, Mr. Speaker, I can say that government is spending 70% of its earnings on wages and salaries. Government is the biggest employer in Sierra Leone, the biggest employer. All over the world. When you go, for some of us, for all of us, I believe all of us in this parliament, we travel. When you travel, you notice that in advanced countries, you barely see government workers. You barely hear of government workers. Our brothers and sisters who live abroad, they will tell you they are working in the private sector. It is difficult for us to see people working for government. But today, even people working for the private sector are all yearning to come to government institutions. Everybody wants to come to government institutions, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm happy the President has said he will revamp and rejuvenate the middle level. What he has promised doing is building technical vocational institutions. Before now, it was agreed that the 6334, the first three, one primary school from JSS 1 to JSS 2, you should be examining to know if you want to go into senior secondary school or if you want to go into senior textbook institution. The teachers should be in the position to have studied the output of the child. To know if this child is really fit to go into senior secondary school or to go into a textbook schools. Before now, Mr. Speaker, I can say when the 6334 was born, there were schools that did not have SSS, but they have technical vocational. When you sit there and you are not able to pass the required mark, you go to those technical vocational schools. I'm happy His Excellency has said he will rejuvenate these institutions. Because once you go to these institutions and you learn trade, you will be able to be useful to the community. You will be able to be useful. And His Excellency has said he is planning to place these institutions in every chiefdom. For instance, in Baobab chiefdom where I'm representing, we are struggling. Before now, what my people used to do is mining. So there's no way you benefit from mining if you don't do mechanized mining. There is no way. It is either you do mechanized mining or you waste your time. So the unemployment rate in our constituency is, in my constituency, for instance, is huge. So I am very pleased His Excellency has said he is bringing technical vocation. This should be the narrative. So that now, when we have this technical vocational, we change the narrative of the young people. You see, you go to our conferences, people are, they are not positioned themselves to be gainfully employed, or they want job. So I am pleased, I am happy. His Excellency have told us he will bring more technical vocational institutions to alleviate the labor level, so that we cannot just be either you are rich or you are extremely poor. Now we have a middle level where people who can do plumbing, they do electricals, they can do every other thing that will make them employable. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency has said youth employment scheme. Of course, Mr. Speaker, in the interview I told the minister that he tried. He built a lot of car washes all around. Some of them, even though they are challenged, they have not been used because of the positions they have been placed. But he did very well, and he should do more. Because His Excellency has promised us 5,000 jobs. And at the end of the day, we're going to ask him for these jobs. 500,000 jobs. And he has promised us that on a yearly basis. This is the beginning of the year, of the electoral year. He is going to provide us 100,000 jobs. Mr. Speaker, as a parliament, we should not wait until the end of the year. Let us challenge ourselves that in the next 6 months, we'll call the government ministers to come and tell us what they have achieved in the 100 jobs, 100,000 jobs. We should put them on the toes. We have so much powers as per the Constitution as members of Parliament. They should be coming here explaining to us about the jobs that His Excellency has promised. Because there is no way this president who is talk and do will say something and he will not deliver. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me read 40 of the speech with the heading Youth Employment Scheme 40. To realize this vision, my administration will undertake the following measures. Mr. Speaker, and the committee that will be responsible, let us look at these measures and let us follow up on these measures His Excellency has highlighted in his speech. Provide targeted incentives encompassing both tax and non-tax benefits to encourage private sector employment of youth. And that's one major problem. That's one major problem the private sector has been claiming for. Tax incentives. The taxes on the private sector is extremely huge, that most businesses are falling out. Businesses are dying. I'm happy the president has said he will give tax incentives. And that is the only way you will encourage the private sector. We are going to follow up. And we are making sure, that is why I have said, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, that the budget should be tidied up with these statements. We are working on the budget. The Ministry of Finance, we are working on the budget. We want to see the tax incentives that the president has told us he will do for private sector. These tax incentives will encourage the private sector to enhance. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the president has said he will establish a dedicated fund to reimburse private sector expenses for recruiting, training, and upskilling youth employment. Mr. Speaker, we are waiting on the government. We are waiting on the government, and we are waiting on the budget. If the budget speaks otherwise, they will begin to challenge them that what His Excellency has said is not what the budget has captured. So I am advising the Ministry of Finance, please take note. Please take note, and please read the statement that has been delivered by His Excellency and tailor your budget towards this statement. Establishing youth opportunity centers in every district headquarters. In every district headquarters town, serving as a vital support hub for youth pursuing employment. That's exactly what I was saying, Mr. Speaker. When these institutions are created, the young people in our district headquarters will be opportune to visit these areas and learn. Facilitate access to capital for aspiring young entrepreneurs seeking to establish their ventures. Mr. Speaker, facilitate access to capital is not just facilitating. This capital should come with lower interest. They should come with lower interest. Mr. Speaker, when you go to these banks, when you go to these community banks, these microcredit institutions, they are even killing our entrepreneurs. They are even killing them. Mr. Speaker, some few days ago, somebody came to me. She started a very good business. And she said, Honorable SO2, the business gone down. And I asked her, what's the problem? She said she started and she went for microcredit. And she went for microcredit. That has even crumbled the business further. Because the interest on this microcredit is huge. And the manner in which they are collecting these monies, Mr. Speaker, that's killing our entrepreneurs. This is a person who started a very good business, but was killed by this microcredit. And they're all around. They're all around. And Mr. Speaker, in my village in Yamandu, half of the women had to run away from that village. Trust me. Half of the women ran away. The way they took this microcredit, and in fact there was a huge syndicate between those that were bringing this microcredit and the women in my village, and they took 3-4 hands. That's what they say. They took one hand, so 2 hands, so one. They collected his money. It's not corruption, it was bigger. And they encouraged them to the point that when they took their money, and on a weekly basis, they were coming for their interest. And Mr. Speaker, half of the women ran away. Half of them. Trust me. Half of them ran away because of the pressure on them. So instead of encouraging, instead of this just facilitating for these loans, we should also encourage those microcredit institutions to lower the interest. There's no way In fact, some of these microcredit institutions in our villages, their interest is about 50%. Their interest is about 50%. So let us make it known to the Ministry of Finance, to the Bank of Sierra Leone, to the government and the people, that these microcredit institutions are not just helping our entrepreneurs. And all of them, and the worst, Mr. Speaker, all the people who took those monies, all of them have gone out of business. All of them. None is now doing this in the business. They are every day they are coming, hey, honorable, SOT, they are giving business money. All of them have gone out of job. So, Mr. President, I'm very pleased when you said you will facilitate access. But just don't facilitate the access. Make sure we lower the interest rates so that the entrepreneurs will be able to strive. Especially with the period that we have not been able to control the exchange rate. When you now go, you take you go and take bank loan. Today the dollar is 2,000. Tomorrow when you come with the huge interest rate and the dollar goes 2,300. Maybe even before you go to China and come back, the dollar is 2,000 more. And the bank will be running after you. The bank will not consider that, oh, this is a challenge. So please, my appeal to government is to encourage the interest rates to be lowered down. Even members of parliament, we are suffering because of the interest rates. The interest rate is huge. We are taking, some people are taking 500, and we are paying nothing more. We are paying nothing less than 300 at the end of the day. That's huge. That's even more than 50% in this parliament. And that's the challenge we are facing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the President has said he will create a comprehensive database to monitor and track youth employment across the public and private sector. For all of that can be tracked. We can have youth employment enhanced. We can have all of that with a very lower interest rate. All of what His Excellency has put on paper can be enhanced with the economy being revamped, can be enhanced with the interest rate being lower. Because there is no way our middle level, there is no way the private sector will enhance with the rate at which the economy is. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, enhancing service architecture, empowering democracy and national development. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, with your leave, let me read paragraph 45. In revamping the public sector architecture, my government will work, Mr. Speaker, conduct a comprehensive review on the policy and legal framework governing the public service, ensuring its professional appeal to Sierra Leonean professionals who aspire to serve government. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will also support His Excellency by saying we will review the policies and legal framework so people who are fit for jobs will be the people employed. It's not who know you. Because the only way our public sector can be enhanced is when we have the rightful people gainfully employed. It's not when we have who know you, we are coming from the same tribe of the same village. If we continue like that, Mr. Speaker, we will not have the intended goal of His Excellency. Establish a center of government delivery unit within the presidency, fostering a cohesive connection with smaller delivery units within line ministries. That's very good. We have also seen the president being true to his word. He has appointed somebody to coordinate the coordination of government ministries. Maybe this is what he wants to achieve, what he has told us. He has appointed one Dr. Gonda to serve in that capacity. We are wishing him well. If exactly what the president has told us is why he was appointed for, he will enjoy the maximum support of this parliament. Strengthening the performance management of ministries, MPAs, and agencies by reviewing existing frameworks and developing a robust performance management policy. Mr. Speaker, this is very good on paper. But Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge this Parliament that in achieving this, apart from the policies His Excellency has said they will put on paper, the Parliament of this Republic has all the powers as per law. I will encourage all committees in this Parliament to follow up on MDAs. It should not be business as usual. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, this 6th Parliament will be asked, what did we do? What did we do to enhance what the President has told us? I know the reasons why the President is putting on strategic policies to enhance public sector is because maybe Parliament has not lived up. Parliament has not taken its rightful space in society. Parliament has not impressed as much as it should. So I am challenging this 6th Parliament. I am challenging all of us. If you are given responsibility as a leader of a committee or a deputy or a member of the committee, please, we expect the MDS to complain you rather than the rivers. Mr. Speaker, before now we see members of Parliament, committee chairmen coming to complain MDS. They are coming to complain MDS. Let us have the rivers, Mr. Speaker. I know you'll be very pleased to see MDS coming and complaining committees. Myself and my leader, we are very, very, very serious in that. That committee chairmen and committees should take their rightful position as per law. We want to see MDS complaining rather than chairman coming. So too, some of that committee to have all of the powers. Can you know? You cannot say that. This is the 6th Parliament. We can understand in the 5th Parliament, it was a hung Parliament. This Parliament is our Parliament. And we should be seen doing our job. If we don't do, we'll not just be disappointing ourselves, but we'll be disappointing the people who voted us. We'll be disappointing the people who voted us. So the fact that this speech is a very small speech, the shortest in the history of this Parliament I have seen so far. I want to challenge, I want to conclude, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, by challenging this Parliament. All of what has been stated in this speech can be actualized by this Parliament. All of these policies, they are laws governing this Parliament and providing oversight on the executive. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, committee chairman, I want to reiterate, I have spoken with my leader. We are giving you free hand. We are giving you free hand. And make sure whatever you do within the spirit of the law. We do within the spirit of the law. But we are given free hand. And the leader told me that the supervisory committee will be monitoring activities of committees in this Parliament. And even committees that will be announced, these are sessional committees. Committee chairpersons will be rotational. Henceforth, as per performance. As per performance. Nobody thinks after committees have been announced, he or she is going to be permanent chairman or deputy chairman to those positions for 5 years. If you don't perform, even people who are closer, even people who think they are not best of friends to us, or even those who are best of friends, if you don't perform, these are sessional committees. So I encourage members of Parliament to join His Excellency the President in achieving his promises to this nation. We have a place, and we should take that title place, so that His Excellency in 5 years' time will be proud as he did in the 5th Parliament, will be proud with the 6th Parliament. Thank you very much, honorable members.
Honorable members, I have no 9 names here. I have 9 names, and I'm going to go. Honorable members, please order. I have 9 names, and I'm going to go strictly by the 9 names, except probably if there's any other honorable member of parliament that is interested. If you are interested for today, let me know. In the circumstances, of course, the leaders have said everything, so 5 minutes. Honorable Weata Songa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we're here to thank His Excellency for his speech to us last week. For me today, Mr. Speaker, for my 5 minutes, I want to use it judiciously, and I would like to focus on health. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as per our Constitution, Section 8, subsection 3(v) of the Constitution clearly states what the responsibilities are for a government to its people with regards to health. When I looked at His Excellency's speech, Mr. Speaker, paragraph 11, page 2 of the President's speech, in tandem with bullet number 1, page 23 of the People's Manifesto, they both highlighted the gains that we have made as a government, as a country, in terms of health. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, if I remember well, when we came to Parliament, the life expectancy of Sierra Leoneans at that time was 53. So if you lived above 53, you were lucky. What have happened since then, because of the seriousness of this government, because of the gains that we have made as a country, that life expectancy have now moved from 53 to 61. That is a massive jump, Mr. Speaker. It's not by magic, it only tells you that we have a serious president who is concerned about the well-being of its people. Mr. Speaker, the mortality rate of this country in 2018 was very high. We were among the least countries at that time. From 2018 to now, Mr. Speaker, we've had 60% decrease in that aspect. That tells you something is happening in the health sector. We have had mobile clinics, even down to Shawema, Mr. Speaker. We have mobile clinics. At that time, I was in my constituency when my people went to me, Honorable, why not don't come SO2? They can check we free. I went there to make a visit, and I saw the work that they did. It was incredible, Mr. Speaker. From scanning, physical checks, x-rays, giving of medications, that is a gain that we have made as a country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, only last week Thursday, we saw in both districts that the Minister of Lands and the Minister of Health went there to acquire 500 acres of land, I believe, to build a specialist unit that His Excellency spoke of last week. So he spoke about it. In less than a week, they made a visitation to ensure that it happens. That serious government looking at the health of his people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, health in this country have been more like a joke. We are now starting to see hospitals being renovated. When you look at Panguma Hospital, this government have renovated it to its standards. We've had Rukupa Hospital, and we had a brand new hospital built in Jujuma. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there have been a huge revamp in the health sector. And we continue to make gains in every aspect of it. Mr. Speaker, last year it was in this very well that we repealed and passed into law the NMC Act 2023, which is the Nursing and Midwifery Council Act. Mr. Speaker, that was over 70 years due. As a parliament, we passed it last year. What does that mean for the health sector? It now means we have a council that monitors. It does not just employ and give PIN codes to nurses and health professionals, but it monitors their conduct, their professional conducts, for the first time in this country. We will have the NMC being responsible for monitoring, evaluating, and disciplining health workers. Gone are the days when you go to hospitals, you will hear nurses chewing gum, Mr. Speaker, SO2, everywhere you pass, you will hear chewing gum on duty. You will see nurses with long nails. As a professional, you are not allowed to do so. Their attitudes to patients were appalling. Now we have a council that monitors that to ensure that they are on track, to ensure that services are delivered and they are fit for purpose. That council requires a budget line. This parliament will be charged with the responsibility to look at the budgets that will be in front of us, to see whether the duties, the responsibilities that we've given to the NMC will be carried out well, as per the budgets that will be allocated to them. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to ask your permission, Mr. Speaker, to start a discussion, a national discussion, on a very important non-communicable disease. Something that this country is suffering from hugely. And we have been overlooking it. The discussions have started, but they are not to the level that we should be asking ourselves whether we are doing justice to ourselves and this nation. That is mental health, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, our country is in crisis. Our nation is in crisis. Every day you talk about kush, you talk about substance misuse. That is mental health, Mr. Speaker. We are shying away from it. I want to thank His Excellency because in the People's Manifesto, he stated that very soon he will be looking at constructing mental health facilities in the provinces. All these years, we've only had one mental health facility in this country. That's Kisimesnes. Is it Kisimesnes we call it? Mr. Speaker, that facility is overstretched. If you have mental illness in my village, Katobu constituency 008, Mr. Speaker, you have to be brought back to Freetown. Because there's no mental health facility in Kailon district. There is none in any of the districts, the entire regions. His Excellency has committed himself to ensuring that we have mental health facilities in the provinces. That is a good one. We pray that it comes to pass. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the discussion that I want to start today in this well is how well we are tackling our mental health issues. Our youths are perishing. Kush have become the order of the day. Everywhere you go, every professional offices, people are taking Kush, Mr. Speaker. What are the reasons? What are the underlying causes? what is making our youth turn to substance misuse? Things that we are not looking at, Mr. Speaker. We have a Mental Health Act that is as old as 1902, the Leone Act. Are we serious as a country, Mr. Speaker? 1902. That is a law that is well overdue to be repealed or to be even, Mr. Speaker, I don't know. You know, I spoke to someone in the Ministry of Health and I said, what are we doing? If we don't have a budget line, how are we going to treat mental health in this country? He said, Honorable, we don't have a budget line because there is no act. I said, what happened to the act? He said, it is at the law officers department is in the shelf, on the shelf, lying there. Now I challenge all of us, Mr. Speaker, to use yourself, your good office, for us as parliamentarians to use our office, the Ministry of Health. His Excellency have shown the willpower. Why I say so, Mr. Speaker, he said it in his speech that he would build facilities to enhance mental health. He have even appointed an advisor, a presidential advisor for mental health. The first time in the history of Sierra Leone. We now have a presidential advisor. If the presidential advisor is advising, what are we doing as lawmakers? Yesterday, I was watching a video where a community have risen to say they don't want any kush smoker in their area anymore. And they were chasing that person. That is a start, but that's not the way. It's a start as a community for us to say no. We are destroying our youth. But what are the main causes, Mr. Speaker? Youth are frustrated. They are turned into substance misuse. Youth that have broken families, broken homes, are turned into substance misuse. Mr. Speaker, please give me another 2 minutes. Let's have a discussion on mental health.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, young adults, even us as women are going through postnatal depression without being noticed in this country. You give birth. I was speaking to somebody last week, and he was describing what his wife was going through. I straight away said to him, that is a postnatal depression. As a health professional, Mr. Speaker, we recognize these things. But what is the treatment solution in this country? We don't have one. He was telling me how his wife have refused to bond with the baby. She'll just give him birth. And even when the baby is crying, she doesn't feel like touching the baby. She feels depressed. She's crying. That is a depression that needs recognition. In my village, they will term it. They say, you don't like the pikin, where's so too? Now which woman no more go born pikin, no like her? But that mother is suffering from depression, Mr. Speaker. Nobody is noticing that. A child who is being bullied in school is suffering from stress. The parents are not picking it up. He's got nobody to speak to. What happens next? He turns to drugs. He's misusing substance. Mom and father have broken up in the home, or there are arguments in the home every day. The children are watching, they are listening. It's psychologically affecting them, Mr. Speaker. Parents don't pay attention. They are too worried about what them and their husbands or husbands and wives are going through. They are ignoring the children. Because they have nobody to speak to, they turn to drugs. Mr. Speaker, our nation needs help. Let's start a broader discussion on mental health. Let's start a discussion as a nation. Now we'll be having a budget in this world. His Excellency, from 2018, we had 6% of the budget of this country allocated to health. From 2018 to now, he increased it to 11.6%. From 6% to 11.6%. Now he's stated that this budget coming, he's going to increase it to 15%. That is a serious precedent. But today, in thanking His Excellency, I am pleading with him and this nation that the 3% that is going to be added to the budget line of health, let's divert it to mental health, in tackling the mental health issues of this country. A lot needs to be done, but we can start with the 3% of budget allocation. How do we do that, Mr. Speaker? How do we start tackling it? Let's start by doing a public health service, educating our youth on drug substance misuse, educating them, counseling them. Let's provide counseling services in this country. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, after yourself and I, the next generation will be nothing to call home about. We will not have youth to take over us. The generation would have finished in the hands of Kush. Key people will be responsible for bringing Kush in this country. That is another discussion. But you are asking yourself today, I am making money out of that Kush. But then you are responsible in destroying this nation. You are responsible in destroying the youth of this nation. As a government, Mr. Speaker, we cannot have a podium to make our case more than this. These are the platforms that we have to speak to the nation to say, enough is enough. Let's make a change. Let's make a change, Mr. Speaker. In the health sector, Mr. Speaker, I'm kindly pleading with my leadership and colleagues. We don't know who will be the committee chairperson of health or whoever finds themselves in the committee. Please, please, let's do our works properly. The oversight role into the hospitals and health facilities cannot be overlooked. Today, His Excellency is providing us with health insurances for public workers, for public sectors. Yes, we have health insurances. Our people in the village, my brother will normally say in Mano Menima, constituency 008, don't have a health insurance. They rely on the health services provided for them in this country. We have a responsibility to ensure those services are effective, that they are fit for purposes. Our oversight roles can ensure that people are doing what they're meant to be doing. Mr. Speaker, down in the provinces, I cannot speak for Freetown. In the provinces down there, we have a lot of paper doctors going around. SO2, Mr. Speaker. They are selling all sorts of drugs. Drugs that you will take 100 and you will not see a single effect. What is our pharmacy board doing in monitoring those? You have people going around in the sun for months with one single medication. The effects have been killed, maybe expired. They are still giving it to our people. We need a robust check on our mental health facilities. Mr. Speaker, this Parliament can do justice to this nation through oversight. And I know we can do it. Mr. Speaker, just before I sit, I want to look at other non-communicable diseases like HIV. Only a few years ago, this country was nearly very close to being declared, to declaring HIV as a pandemic. It's so rampant. Now I say to young people when I speak to them, and even us, the older ones, and so too, Mr. Speaker, if man say I want you today, not of it here, but I'll go do test. Do a health check, Mr. Speaker, because HIV have become like eating biscuits in this country. It's everywhere. Believe you me or not, but as a health professional, as a health practitioner, I will stand there and tell you that it's a pandemic in Sierra Leone. It's spreading rapidly. Both men and women are spreading it. Let's take a proactive measure in ensuring that certain diseases are being put under control. Else, our generation yet unborn will not make it so thus far as we have made it. honorable members in your constituencies visit your hospitals. That's part of your oversight role. You don't have to be in health committee. Go to your hospitals and see what's happening there. Only a few months ago, I went in one of my health facilities in my constituency and I realized that services that are meant to be free for pregnant women, lactating mothers, they were taking monies from them. The lady that gave birth, SO2, Mr. Speaker, they told her if you give stop money for what we had. And the stop money was over 300,000 euros. I said that is not acceptable. I straight away looked at who was in charge. I visited the leadership of that clinic and I spoke to them and I said this is not acceptable. The next time I find out this, I will take it up. So we have a responsibility in ensuring that services are doing what they're meant to be doing. Let's visit our health facilities. Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, thank you very much for being generous. As I take my seat, Mr. Speaker, I want the discussion to carry on mental health. I implore every member of parliament, every citizen of this country, to discuss what our mental states are. And let's be tested for HIV. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Charles O. Abdullah.
That's it. Yeah. So wait.
Honorable Charles O. Honorable Ye Kamara, be ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me join colleagues to have a bite on the motion of thanks of HE, which he graciously delivered on the 3rd of August, 2023. One of the things I want to throw light on that this president is a very grateful president in his opening speech. First page, first paragraph, he was quick to thank and congratulate members of parliament and the speakers for their re-election to office again, especially for some of us coming back who survived the tsunami. It was not only State House that suffered the tsunami. Members of parliament also, you know, when his HE reached at that point, he looked amongst MPs to see whether some MPs are there, and he shook his head when he saw me here, because it was very unprecedented where I am here. Thank you very much, HE, for the speech. Also, in one of the areas in paragraph page 2, paragraph 6 or so, I want to really dilate on the gender issues, which His Excellency actually was pleased during his speech that he delivered. The increased percentage in the election of women to parliament, 30.4%, because this was a manifesto commitment he made, and that was achieved. I think that was very laudable on the part of this government, the government of Sierra Leone and HE, and parliament, because we are part of that history making. Those documents passed through here. It wasn't easy, but we are able to meander our way to pass that bill. My question is, what next for you elected members of parliament, especially the women folk? What next? What are our takes to help the government, deal with the gender issues, not only to benefit you, the elites, the few educated women that made their way to parliament? What of your counterparts out there, the majority? How is this going to impact their lives? Let's rethink. I do not need answers, of course, but that will be part of our, as parliament, and also especially for you, the women folk who've made your way to parliament in your numbers this time around. Help the ministry. For me, as a member of parliament for the past 5 years, I can challenge the Ministry of Gender to tell me how far one institution is mainstreaming gender. I've not seen an assessment report, a gender audit, even Parliament. I think those are some of the things as a Parliament, as a government, we should be thinking, especially the Ministry of Gender, to see how far institutions are mainstreaming gender. Our budgeting, what are the issues, what are the gender issues, not only our physical representation in Parliament, but how far are we dealing with the issues of gender. So it's a food for thought. As a Parliament, Committee on Gender, the Ministry of Gender, those are some of the things we'll be thinking about around that. Also, HE was also quick to thank the 5th Parliament, because we all know it was a home Parliament. The leadership of Parliament, how were they able to meander their way to see all the policies of government pass through? You know, it was a very big plus on our part, both eyes, because it was a kind of collaboration, engagement, you know, on both eyes. The leadership was the Speaker, the leadership of Parliament, members of Parliament, lobbying, you know, engagements, collaboration, as I said, so that at least good policies of government were able to pass through to become laws, and today it's a very big plus to this Parliament. He also mentioned about the gains we've made as a country in the past 5 years. His government made the policies, you know, relating to strategic policies of our food production, in agriculture, education, and the like. Several of those manifesto commitments, except otherwise, except a biased person that can assess that government that can give that this particular government a low mark in achieving most of its commitments. But I think somebody with all his senses, you know, unbiased, you really rate the past government a high mark in terms of their meeting their commitments. Mr. Speaker, coming to the current manifesto commitments, I want to look at the fifth Salone. Our ministries are challenged despite the gains we've made already, but I want to look at few things which, especially the chairman of the presidential, the chairman for the presidential initiative, you know, in relation to agriculture, climate change, and the like. That our ministries, especially agriculture, is challenged with this idea of load products for our farmers. It's a special skill. I remember when I was in Ghana pursuing a course in agricultural value chain financing. When I went for my practicals in Cape Coast, it was a maize farmer, a woman, that helped me get the information to design load products. So these are some of the things we want the ministry to look at. My leader was talking about the microcredit loans. Those are areas the Ministry of Finance will look at. If you want to operate a financial institution, what is your product? How do you determine the loan product? In agriculture at the same time, you know, we want to feed ourselves. Do we have brokers at community level that sells fertilizers, that make farmers have access to those inputs? Relating to the use of tractors, we want to mechanize our farming activities. It's laborious, but there are some appropriate technologies that we can use. I remember in 2018, 2019, we approved 150 tractors in this way. The use of those tractors have been by private sectors. I know the story. Please, Mr. Minister, coming to the Ministry of Agriculture, you have to look at the use of those tractors by private in the care of private sectors, you know, for the hiring of those tractors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Access to market, Mr. Speaker, please just a second to look at the the bridge in my constituency in Bumpe. It affects you also, using that route to Matrujan or to Bond. My chiefdom is a chiefdom that is agriculturally viable. We are very productive in agricultural activities. But the collapse of that bridge has caused very serious problem for our people. As it is, as you know, when you pass through Bumpe, now the markets of Bo should have been flushed by new rice. But how can these farmers bring those new rice to Bo when they have to merry-go-round through Tayama? Even myself as member of parliament, when I want to go to my constituency, I have to go through Tayama, Mahano, Jala, and the like. So please, honorable members, Mr. Speaker, when we resume after recess, I will either under SO23 or a private motion to bring the minister of any institution that is responsible for that road to give us an answer to the status of that road and that bridge from Bo to Matruja. On that note, I want to thank His Excellency again. I want to thank members of Parliament. At least we are able to say a very big thank you to His Excellency for the speech he delivered on that fateful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abdullahi. Honorable Becca. Is Honorable Olotobi around?
Yes, she's out.
Okay. Let's
Mr.
proceed.
Speaker, honorable members, today is another day in the 6th Parliament. I know already the leader of government business and the deputy. You know, I was telling my colleague that, well, we don't need to say anything again because they have said everything. In fact, they have borrowed our words. But nevertheless, we still have some to say. I want to use this opportunity on behalf of myself and the people of Kono District to thank His Excellency, our dear father and president of this nation, for all brilliant ideas. Because a nation will not survive if you don't have people with brilliant and good ideas. I believe in all of this that the president has said in this well of parliament. He's the boss, he's the head, but he's not the implementer. He's not the sole owner of the idea. All of us have stake in whatever he has said in this well of parliament. So all of us should brace ourselves to ensure that what our president has said here is being fulfilled, so that our people will believe not only in the president, but they will believe in us as their elected members of parliament. I want to thank His Excellency the President for being consistent in his support. Talked about that. You know, some people are even obsessed with this thing, woman thing. But let me tell you, the president said in his previous statement that no country will survive if women are left out in decision making. And our dear president believed that even in the homes, if you as a man decide to take a decision, a unanimous decision on your own without consulting with your wife, I'll tell you, you will go and fail until you come back and consult with your wife. Because women are pivotal in the bringing up of the family, in uniting the family. Sierra Leone is a family. Sierra Leone is one country, and we are one people. Leaving women out will not help this country. Bringing women on board, we also have stake. So that's why I said our president has been consistent in ensuring that women are on board the governance of this country. And that has manifested in our last election. But I want to appeal to us as women. Today, our percentage is high up there. But is that all? No. We as women have a role to play to ensure that this percentage does not come down. How? We have to make ourselves relevant to our people. We have to make ourselves relevant in the day-to-day execution of our roles and responsibility in the governance of this country. We have to make this country believe in what the president is saying. We have to show out to the world that when women are alongside with men, pushing for development, pushing to ensure there is peace, there is unity, we have to make the world know that, yes, we are relevant in every step that any country is taking. And that is why our dear President Julius Maada said is going to follow through. And we have a stake, we have a tax. We have to let the last woman in that last village know about the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Acts. When you, during this campaign, when you tell them about the GWE Act, they will ask you, what is that? They don't even know if something like that has ever happened in Sierra Leone. So they need to know, because the provisions in it are very paramount to us. When you talk about poverty reduction, you look at the index, women are on top of there, because we take care of the length and breadth of the family. You see, the president said, we are not just mere women. With your leave, Mr. Speaker, let me read paragraph 7. Our president said, the recent election witnessed a commendable 15% rise in women's representation, with 30.4% of directly elected representatives, that is, we as members of parliament and even the female councillors. Now, being a woman and not a representative now, being a woman, women are not merely women, as we have erroneously defended in the past. That is, for example, in my native language, Kono SO2, Musumoku, ordinary women. Our president said we are not just ordinary women. Then he went on saying, women are also policy makers. We are leaders, constituting the backbone. Backbone. Mr. Speaker, when they say backbone, you know what it means. When somebody's backbone is broken, you hardly stand up. So if women are backbone to this country and the society, and he went on to say, the very anchor of our families, the presence of more women within the parliament and our democracy enrich our nation, infusing it with compassion, empathy, and resilience. That shows what this particular 5 years will look like with the presence of women. Moving from there, Mr. Speaker, I want to purely look at Fifth Salone. I want to give an example here that my mentor is in this room. And my mentor is no other person but my own Paramount Chief, the PCMP from Kono District, Paramount Chief for Gabasapi. I respect him so much because he served as one of the examples in Kono, that Kono is not just a diamond district. When you go to Kono, you do your research very well, you find out that maybe it's just 10% of the land you see mining. The rest of the land is just languishing. And my Paramount Chief has served as one of the examples. Today, he is harvesting palm oil up to even 15 to 30 jerry cans of palm oil in his farm. He has harvested a lot of cashew nuts. So with the type of people like that, and so many other Paramount Chiefs in Kono District, they are back in full agriculture, not mining. Most people in Kono District have moved from mining. Mr. Speaker, if I give you a mining pit, you come with investors. Then I give you a very vast land. You come with other investors. You find, for agriculture, you find out that you will get profit from the agriculture than the mining. Because the mining is just a mere gamble. It's just a mere gamble. You don't know what is down there. If even you get the money, come to think of it, this 79, is it 79 carats? That 709 carats that was found in Kono. Where is the money? What has it done for Kono? I'm telling you, if that money was invested in agriculture, especially mechanized farming in Kono, go, they are vast land. You see even the overburden the miners use when the things they don't want, the soil they don't want. If you put even cassava stick there, after 2 years you go there, you get a very good cassava. That means the land in Kono is fertile, not only for mining. So I'm calling on the government not to just find investors for us for mining, but to find investors for us to do a mechanized farming so that we will feed Salone. The subsistence farming going on with small groups, cooperative, I'm telling you, will not feed Salone. That has been there since. Now we are eating more of chemical rice instead of our local rice that we have been eating. Because the palm oil rice, they are saying, I don't know if it's palm oil rice or what. When you eat it, after 1 hour, you feel hungry again. But when you eat our local palm oil rice, I'll tell you, until the next day, you feel like eating again. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if I want to end here, I believe the rural-urban migration has caused a lot of laxity in agriculture in our rural communities. Go to the villages now. All the young men have come to the city. What they are coming to do, you don't know. Go very early in the morning, go to the bus station. Go and see young men languishing on the street, lying on top of tables. They have left the villages. They have left the villages where they do small farming and gardening. No, they are not there. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if we want youth employment to really be fulfilled, let us ensure we encourage our youth to go back home, to engage in this type of farming. They will be able to get money in their pockets. If they do their farming and come back at the end of the year to sell whatever they have planted. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I know agriculture is very good, but youth, human capital development is also very, very good. Because without that, all of us will not be seated here. If you don't pay attention, we don't pay attention to that, even in our different families. So say, SO2, left there, and see mama and papa there. Now in business, if you are lacking for instance, I'm telling you, if you use that word, SO2, if you are lacking in business, at the end of the day, that boy will become an armed robber and come for you. So we should not overlook it. We should not take it as a one-man business. We should not take it as somebody else's business. It is our business. Let us find ways and means in our constituencies to see how the government, to advocate for government, to empower, to furnish the government trade institute. So that when these youths go there to learn trade, they will not only learn it on pen and paper, but there will be the practical sector. If you go to the government trade centers all over, the practical sector is not working. It's just here in Freetown at Ferry Junction. When you go there, you meet them there. But you go to Kono, they will just teach them. But nothing is there to practicalize what they have taught them. So I'm calling on government not to just place this government trade institute, but to use it as a hub where youth will put their hands on the job. At the end of the day, mining companies, other companies will go there and add on to employ them. Without that, employment will be difficult for them. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I will encourage all of us to go on with this debate and to also work, not only to talk, let us work and ensure that our government good name goes out there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The rest of this year. So I encourage members of parliament, go out there, go to your people, lead them in this farming thing. This should be a revolution. This should be a farming revolution. Let's go out. Let's lead our people. Get our people to be involved. Thank you very much, Honorable Ye Kamara. Honorable Emilia Lolotomo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I would like to say thanks to His Excellency. This is very brief. It's one of the shortest speeches, and it is well detailed. It entails almost everything we wanted to know. And I would also like to say thanks to His Excellency for 20%. The Parliament is well colored. The women are everywhere, and there are smiles on the faces of our women in Parliament. I say thank you to His Excellency if you are watching. God bless you for what you have done for the women in this country. I want to start by talking about the youth employment and also about agriculture. Mr. Speaker, we have a problem in this country. Mr. Speaker, our young youths in this country are dying in the Mediterranean Sea, running away from Africa. Our youths are running away from Africa to die in the Mediterranean Sea. And I will ask myself, why are they running away? And you see among this, the corpse they bring out. I remember like 4 years ago, I went to Spain. You see thousands of graves, no names. Mr. Speaker, this is serious. As I say, why are they running away? They are running away looking for greener pastures. Mr. Speaker, we need to do something. Like I say, agriculture might help. Agriculture, we need those days. You know, they provoke people when you are a farmer. Oh, the bushman. But Mr. Speaker, I want you and others to make agriculture bluffable, so that we make agriculture attractive. It's not only because you cannot wear tie to go to, to enter these farms that doesn't make you a personality. We have people like you've just said, you produce what you eat. It's not only you, even His Excellency, who is also a member of Parliament, is doing agriculture. He's doing his own, he eats his own pepper. I saw it on television. It was fantastic. So, Mr. Speaker, those days they used to give us, this is just a proposal I'm making, constituency funds. If it is possible for the government to give each and every member of Parliament here that constituency funds plus, so that we can get into agriculture as them, it will be okay. I'm just proposing. So we only make His Excellency succeed in his governance if we also actually join him to make it a success. We are his eyes, his feet. He cannot go everywhere in this country. We need to do it for him. If we want to enter here again and continue to sit down here in 2028, the time has come for us to do that. We are friends are away, we cannot wait. We need to start working. and we need this work to be done. And he cannot do it all alone. Now, he has given us all logistics here. It sounds so beautiful, and he's doing it. Like if you see all, Mr. Speaker, if you can permit me, presidential initiative focused on youth employment and job creation within the next 5 years. That's one. And then he's providing, he has targeted to provide targeted, insensitive, encompassing both tax and non-tax benefits to encourage private sector employment for the youth. And then secondly, establish a dedicated fund to even reimburse private sectors expenses for recruiting, training, and upskilling youth employees. This is fantastic. So it means he is going an extra mile so that youth can be employed. We will also try to make sure private sectors who come here actually to create their businesses, we make sure they employ our boys. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as my two colleagues just stood up to talk about health. Health is something that is, even if you are poor, you don't have anything, as long as you are healthy, you are half rich. We need to concentrate on health, especially those hard to reach areas. Mr. Speaker, for the past 60 years, I'm telling you this, there has never been a health center in one section. Can you beat that? I had to do it myself. Maternal death in this country, Sierra Leone was #1 in this country. And if we cannot help His Excellency to do these things, he alone cannot do it. So we are encouraging His Excellency to please pay attention on health. Our women are dying. Our children are dying there. And up to today, as I speak to you, when they go to give birth, they spend money, they ask money from them. And this is not good. So the oversight committees must look into it and make sure this, they put an end to it. Because sometimes people would prefer to stay at home and die because they cannot afford to to pay the money. Let's stop that. Let's enter into it. If the committee, committee people cannot actually get into those hard to reach areas, let's meet the Minister of Health and his executives so that they can do these visitations. Today, I'm sure the ministers are not just meant to sit down in their offices and sign papers. They need to actually get into the field and make sure this time around His Excellency and his government succeed in this country. We are ready. We are in numbers. The women are ready. We want to make him a successful president. He's well known now in the world, and he alone, as I have said, cannot do it alone. He needs our help, each and every one of us in this parliament. We are his soldiers. We need to protect him. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I say thank you.
Honorable Kekura Bandi, are you here? Okay, proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I want to thank His Excellency the President, Fountain of Honor, Commander-in-Chief of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces, for his speech graciously delivered in this well on the 3rd of August 2023. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as he said earlier, the two bosses and my mentors have said it all. So I will not take on you too long in participating in this all-important debate. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in the debate there are certain things that are very interesting. That tells you that you have a president
that regards this parliament, you have a president that believes in humanity. Once the president, he expressed his heartfelt appreciation to the people of Sierra Leone for giving him the mandate again for another 5 years. He extended his thanks to them, that he wants to thank the people of Sierra Leone for reposing confidence in him again to steer our ship for another 5 years. After that, he also recognized the significance of this parliament. That is the third paragraph. He recognized the significance of this parliament. But this parliament is very pivotal. If he succeeds, he will, to a very large extent, depend on this parliament for him to succeed. The other that, Mr. Speaker, he also sent out felicitations and appreciated the Speaker of Sierra Leone Parliament and his deputy, your very good self. Because the fifth parliament, we all know, is a hung parliament, surrounded by a lot of difficulties. But you did everything humanly possible, you and the Speaker and the leadership, to make sure that the fifth parliament was a very successful one. We ended on a very good footing. Apart from that, again, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the President, to tell the world that the Sierra Leone Parliament is a very good one, the fifth parliament succeeded. That was more the reason again. He said, I stood before you here today, and he made a mistake. Okay, I sat before you here today. With the composition of the present parliament, we have given opportunities to our better halves, the women. If this parliament was not a super parliament, that gender empowerment bill would have not been actualized at this moment. But the president is very pleased with the Sierra Leone, with the fifth parliament. That was why, when he turned around and saw a lot of women seated, beautiful faces, very beautiful women, the president is very pleased. Was very pleased with the fifth parliament. When I say beautiful, they are saying now yes. And the guys are also handsome. They are also handsome, not so? You can see the man there from Kenema. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when you go to paragraph 12, the new direction consolidating the gains and accelerating transformation agenda. The gains we made in the fifth parliament, those gains need to be accelerated. That's what the president made mention of in paragraph 12. How are they going to be accelerated? So that was why he embodied everything into 5 different categories. Everything we embodied in 5 different categories. These 5 different categories, he said, we need to feed ourselves. It's now, we call it Operation Feed Ourselves. But he said, feed Salone. But I'm saying Operation Feed Yourself. Apart from Feed Salone, we also talk about human capital development. That was his flagship in his first term, human capital development. And Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the platform is now laid for human capital development. It is clear. When the president assumed power in 2018, he proclaimed that the free quality education is going to be his flagship program. And we all saw what he did in that direction. He introduced free quality education. There was a debate in fifth parliament. I gave you statistics on the increment of at different levels in the schools because of the introduction of the free quality education. If you want to send a country to a dungeon, just deprive them from education. When you deprive them from education, you do not need to go and incite people to go take up to the street or to take guns to go to the bushes. But once people are educated, you enlighten your people, they cannot be easily fooled. The president did that in the fifth parliament. Mr. Speaker, in the fifth parliament, I refer to him as a president of nobility. I challenged, since independence, Mr. Speaker, since independence, no president has ever recruited 3,000 teachers in 10 years. The records are there. Since independence, President Leone in 5 years recruited over 10,000 teachers. That tells you he is very, very serious about the human capital development. Because how are you going to develop human capitals? Those that are going to impact knowledge, they are not there. How are you going to impact, how is that free quality education going to be impacted? What also he did, the public examinations classes, the last in 5th Parliament, I read out the figures here. In 2018, how much is government pay? 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Mr. Speaker, honorable members. When we come to subsidies, in the midst of all difficulties, we have a challenge economy. But he said, no, I am not going to depend on that. We need to take the bull by its horn. So we pay subsidies in 2018, 2019, 2020. The figures are there, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I will only bore people with that. I will only bring up those when people want to challenge those facts. And Mr. Speaker, it was in this way, right in your presence, I read out the recruitment. The first 5,000 teachers that were recruited, the crying babies, over there, I call them crying babies, our colleagues in the 5th Parliament. They said, no, we have not given PIN code to teachers. They call it telephone numbers because we have not put them on payroll. But I think you can attest to that. I stood in this well. I called district after district, number of teachers recruited in those districts, and I even involved some schools in some constituencies. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the human capital development, the president, the platform is there. We are accelerating it. It's a vehicle. We are in a very top gear when it comes to human capital development. Very top gear. Because the platform is also there. We have started the vehicle is in motion, we are just accelerating now. We are 80 kilometers per hour. Maybe we are going to take it to 150 kilometers per hour, Mr. Speaker. Kilometers per hour.
Take time for accident.
I will not take time. We are going at a very fast pace, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we want to feed Sierra Leone. When the supplementary budget came to this well, I said it. Mr. Speaker, I have seen with my own naked eyes, seed inputs are supplied to farmers that embark on upland farming in August and September. Does that make sense? People who want to embark on upland farming, you give them seed input in August, September. You are just giving them to eat. When you want to give seed input to farmers, give them on time. Give them on time. Mr. Speaker, before I came to Parliamentarian conference today, I was once a contractor to supply seed rice to CCSL. Mr. Speaker, it was at the end of July, the monies were given to us to go and buy seed rice for upland farming. We brought it early August, and it was in mid-August we supplied to farmers. As we supplied to farmers, SO2, they said, this one you're not condom no one else do it. Of course. If we want to feed the nation, we want to feed ourselves, the Ministry of Agriculture has to be very serious with that. When you are giving seed input to farmers, give it to them on time. Give it to them on time. And we have seen the president say he is going to revamp the research system. Because we do not have improved breeds. When we want improved breed, you have to go to Ghana and go to other countries. We have researchers here. These research institutions need to be capacitated, so they will also work on hybrids for seeds for us. They will have better yields. So the agriculture, and I know the man that have been put into that position, he is poised to take our agriculture to a higher level. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to bore you, but there are some other things I will never do. Mr. Speaker, one more minute, no problem. The infrastructural development. If I don't talk of energy, Mr. Speaker, I will be admitted in the government hospital. I have to say about it. The president said, we want to make sure that the chief of the district headquarters towns are electrified. In the midst of all difficulties since independence, no president has ever taken our own money to electrify one chief of headquarters town. President Leone took our money in the midst of difficulties to electrify 7 district headquarters town. Kabala, Kambia, Moyamba, Pujon, Bones, Matujo, and Kala. Very proud. Mr. Speaker, the last one, my deputy will expand on that better. The last one, Mr. Speaker, my former deputy. Mr. Speaker, please, the last one is about elections. The president made mention that his government supported ECSL to conduct the 2023 election, June 24. Mr. Speaker, it is common everywhere in the whole wide world. Elections most times are challenged. The biggest democracy, that is America, in the year 2000, between George Bush and Al Gore, there are a lot of controversies around their elections. But the Republicans did not take back seats that we are not going to participate in governance. Especially in Miami-Dade and Palm Beach in Florida. Those are the two contested areas. Miami-Dade and Palm Beach, the matter was in court. The judges, the Republican lawyers asked, how is the Florida law related to the federal law? And that was the end of the matter. The Republicans did not say, we are not going to participate in governance. The election is over. So at this point in time, I want to crave on the indulgence of our colleagues. I want to thank Mohammed Bangura and my brother seated by him. We want other members on the other side to follow suit. Because all what we are saying, I will be very pleased if we have good number of them seated there today. We tell them what this government has done. We tell them that this government is a responsible government. We tell them that this government is ready to take us to a higher height. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I know you are going impatient. I will stop there. I will find time for the other day for energy. Or somebody will come up with energy. But there are certain things about energy. Thank you. I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to have a bite on this all-important debate. Thank you, sir.
Honorable PC by Faramatas Bubu back.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament. Thank you for giving me the chance to take a bite on the motion of thanks to the President, His Excellency Dr. Julius Maada for the speech he graciously gave us in the Chamber of Parliament on the 3rd of August 2023. I don't want to take much of your time. I just want to go on to directly to Salone and touch briefly on the human capital development. If you look at page Salone, page 4, and the bullet points 2, 3, and 4 under paragraph 27. President is talking about to improve rice production in Sierra Leone and to improve on irrigation and mechanization of IVS, and also to improve on the research, as my colleague just said. In Cambia District, especially in my chiefdom, we have the Okubu Agricultural Research Center. It has been there for over 8 years to do rice research. So it has a lot of information about the new breeds of rice and all the agronomic practices that are used to produce rice in all the ecologies that you have in Sierra Leone, Holy Land. But we are having problems in this research station for the past, after the war. First of all, the landowners are asking that the lease rent has to be paid. It has not been paid for the past 11 years. They normally pay for every 5 years. The last payment was made in 2012, but so now we have been trying to make the authorities try to pay these people, but to no avail. And that is not good for the relationship between the staff, especially the director there, and the people, the landowners. Secondly, the morale of the staff is going down, and that is causing dwindling of staff. The scientists and the middle level staff, the number is going down because their conditions of service still not good. And also the facilities in the research station, they need to be improved. They have problems with electricity, with internet facility, the roads inside the center, the housing for staff, and even the labs. They are very good labs, though they cannot run without light. And this is hampering their work. Then also where the research is being done, the fields, they are poorly kept now because of lack of staff. Especially to get foundation seed. We see at the seed, after breeding, the seed that they try to multiply, to give out to farmers, and then they get more seeds, and then they circulate it throughout the country. Because we have a lot of seeds that can be used. For example, the rock 24, ROK 14. The rock is mixed for copper. ROK 14, ROK 10. These are very good varieties that is lying there. You know, so we don't need to go to Ghana to get the good seeds. We already have seeds in Sierra Leone, but we need to improve on the facility at the research station. Presently, there's an organization called CORA, that's the Center for Research Federation, based in Senegal. It wants to make this center as a center for excellence for mangrove rice research. But they have given the research center in Rokopo 2 years to recruit. If not, the center will be transferred to Guinea. They came in January this year, and the center is at 64%. The highest level they want is 80%. They will be coming next year, at the end of in 2025, government, especially the Ministry of Agriculture and Slurry, to move very fast so that we can do this Feed Salone program. And the President has said it in one of his bullet points that we have to improve on rice research. We already have the scientists there, we already have the place. So over 120 acres of land that has been developed for over 80 years. The center was opened since the 1930s by the British colonial powers. So I want to bring that to the attention of the President to take action. The second point is in Kambia district, where it is the basket bowl of, the rice bowl of Sierra Leone. We have the largest mangrove area in the country, and we produce the rice that is called the Barabara rice or Wala rice. Just as you said, I don't eat imported rice. I eat this Wala rice. I have a very large mangrove swamp, so I don't eat it. So we produce a lot of Wala rice, but it goes to Guinea. The government have to come up with a system where we can protect this our locally produced boiled rice, so as we can able to feed our people. The mangrove rice has been projected. The mangroves have been projected to be about 38,800 hectares of land. It's a very large area. Especially in 3 children, the lower parts of Mayon Chiefdom and Dema, and Samu Chiefdom and Mambolo Chiefdom. Also have a vast IVS in the district, Inland Valley swamps. Those that have been mapped already is about 500 hectares, but the projected area is 12,000, over 12,000 hectares. And this needs to be developed. And we need mechanized farming in this area and irrigation systems. We have also a large body, especially in Tonkolimba, in Mambolo, and Konaka chiefdoms in Kambia district, going up to 23,000 hectares of land. You know, I'm just giving an example for Kambia district. If we project this for the whole of Sierra Leone, we can produce all our food that we need, especially rice. Just Kambia district can produce enough rice for the whole of Sierra Leone. So please, Mr. President and Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we are imploring the new minister coming in and inspiring people in the Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Institute to take drastic action, or to take active action to revamp the station at Rokopo, and also the ministry to put more attention in providing inputs on time, as my colleague just said, input seed rice and fertilizer inputs on time. And also touch on the human capital development briefly. Last year in the 2019, although we have a loan scheme for students, but it has not yet materialized fully. We still depend on, last year Gambia district we had 62, this year it was reduced to 35. And it is creating a lot of problems for us, government chiefs and other leaders, and also for our students that are in the tertiary level. Normally we have those that apply for this GIA, there are more than 250 students. And last year it was so difficult to get 62 out of them, and so this year just 35. So we are asking that as the flagship program for last 5 years of the president, and now it's a very good footing. And if you look at page 5, bullet point number 1 of paragraph 32, allocation of funding for this sector is to be sustained or improved or increased. So that please, the GIA has to be increased for our students throughout the country, including Gambia district. So I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the time to take a bite on this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable PC. Honorable Beatrice Kambai. Are you here?
I am.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and colleague, honorable members present. I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor to participate in this very important debate. Firstly, I want to say thank you to His Excellency, Dr. Julius Maada, for his eloquent presentation. In the state opening of Parliament, the 6th Parliament in the Second Republic. I want to thank him very much, and I want to say to him, Dr. Julius Maada has made a mark. He has made a mark in this country through his efforts, his commitments. I have been opportune to read some presentations on the official or state opening of Parliament, including Dr. Julius Maada's. I can say probably this time that this particular presentation is very brief and to the point and points. For this, I want to thank him very much. I don't want to thank him alone. As a wife, an educated woman, educated wife, I know what it means when your husband is on the table sweating, writing, vetting, rehearsing speeches. I'm always by my husband helping him, either talking to him so that he doesn't get bored or giving him ideas. So I strongly believe Madam Fatima Bio has been doing similarly, and therefore I wish to say thank you to her. She has done very well, being together, being part and parcel of His Excellency the President, Dr. Julius Maada. Maada bill, in my opinion, has prioritized food security, as it says, feed Salone. He is asking, as I may understand, that policies be formulated to foster competitiveness in our local food production. I want to believe institutions have been established already to promote this idea. Institutions like the ABC, we call agricultural business centers. Like in my chiefdom, it was established in 2010 with the agenda to provide services for our local farmers. But the whole idea of supporting these ABCs, to my understanding, my experience, is like lip service. As one of my colleagues was saying, support to these farmers, to these institutions, comes in very, very late. Like you are supplying seed rice to farmers. I believe that should be supplied, that should be done way in April or May or very early in June, because most people plant their rice in June. But if you are supplying them in July or August, it's a mere waste, because they are not going to use it, and they are not going to use it on the farms. They will use it the other way, like food for work, something like that. But then the saddest part of it is the land is going to be wasted. They cannot use all the space cultivated because they might not have enough seeds to plant on the land. So I want to believe the existing policies need to be revisited. We need to ask Ministry of Agriculture to bring their policies, whatever policies they have, so that we can go through them and see how we can bring in some innovations to make sure our local farmers receive what they are supposed to receive. These structures, if we don't believe, I want to say to you that